Hello everyone! Alright, here I am going to make caramel sauce. Now I'm going to use this, I guess, turbinado sugar. It's thicker granules, and I'm going to tell you this is the first time I'm doing this, so we're going to see how this turns out. I'm going to make half of this recipe that I'm going to veganize. So instead of using a cup of this, I'm going to use half a cup. I'm going to be using some coconut milk as well, because I think that caramel and coconut flavor just naturally go very well together. I mean, you could use something like soy milk, but coconut is also a thicker, heavier milk, like a cream, which people tend to use when making caramel. I'm going to use a bit of butter, and I'm going to use a little bit of water and a bit of salt. Of course, you want to have a little bit of salt to counteract the sugar, or to give that nice caramel salty flavor to it, and also a tiny bit of lemon juice. And I will be back to get started in just a moment. Okay, so I have set the pan to medium heat. I just turned it on. Now I know some people make caramel like a dry way, where they just put the sugar in and let the sugar melt down, but I am going to add water. The lemon juice, you can either use lemon juice or some cornstarch. No, not cornstarch, corn syrup. I do have a bit of corn syrup that I've apparently had in my cupboard for years. So the corn syrup will help stop the crystallization, but so will a little bit of lemon juice, which is acidic. So I'm going to measure out right now half a cup of the sugar. I'm just going to make a small amount, as I said. The other reason is this pan, I don't want to totally bubble up very high when you add the milk to it and the butter. So, I mean, we'll see how I feel. I might make the full thing. So, I'm just going to do. So that's a quarter cup, and that's half a cup. Okay. I mean, the stove is not going to be hot yet, but what you're going to do now, you can add enough water to kind of cover the sugar. Let me just show you here. Okay, so I'm just going to probably put maybe 3 tablespoons of water. So I just have a bit of, ouch. I just have a bit of water in a cup. Yeah, and that looks like it's enough to just cover the sugar in the pan, and as you can see. Okay, so now I don't know if I should have started with a hot pan or hot stove already, but I haven't. I'm just going to give this a bit of a swish, and you know what I'm going to do as well? I'm going to add a little bit of lemon juice to that. So while I have that right there, I'm going to add... I'm going to put half a teaspoon of lemon juice in there. If I were going to make the full recipe, I would put a teaspoon. So I'm just going to put half a teaspoon in there. And I'm going to give it another little swirl. Now this might take a while. I'm going to time this, so I will let you know essentially when it starts to look dissolved, and when... I'll be back when I feel like it's dissolved and sort of starting to bubble up and boil a little bit on this medium heat. One other thing I didn't say, while this is starting to heat up, I'm just putting the lid on here to help the steam and the heat stay in the pan, and as you can see, it's starting to, this has been about 5 minutes, and it's starting to bubble up a little bit. So I probably could have started the pan, I don't know, put the stove... I don't like to put a dry pan on a hot stove, but maybe I could have done that. But I'm okay with this. Just going to take a little bit longer. Now, the one downside, perhaps, to using a brown sugar already is that when you use white sugar, you can start to see when the sugar starts to caramelize and become browner. So in this case, I'm just going to look for it to become a darker, more deeper auburn kind of color. So I'll be back. Okay, so this is 2 minutes later, and I just want to show you, because you can see it looks like all the sugar has basically evaporated, so there we go. The condensation from the lid is kind of going down in there, but that's okay. There's already water in there. It's not like when you're going to make something like chocolate. So I'm going to put this back on, and look at that beautiful color though already. I'm going to cook this and watch this probably for, it could be another 5 minutes. 5 to 8 possibly, but we'll see, maybe 5. Okay, so it's been 5 minutes. I just checked a minute ago, and it was still, it's still cooking nicely. It still has that same beautiful golden color. And now one of the things you're going to have to do as well is just kind of follow your nose and see when it starts to smell a little bit different. You know, I'm just... It's as hard. This is now because of the color. It seems to me the color is starting to become a little more deeper, and I'm kind of starting to smell. What's the word? Not like a slightly burnt smell. Not really. I mean, that's a hard way to describe it, but I think that's the best way for me to describe that smell. Maybe it's starting to get like a little tiny bit of a burnt smell to it. By the way, Jamaicans love burnt sugar. So I think that just for my own peace of mind, well, I'm going to let it continue. I want to see the color get a bit darker. Okay, I think that is starting to happen in the middle. If you can, I don't know if you can see that on the camera, but yes, it's getting darker through the middle, and the sides with the bubbles are not quite as dark. Might not be picking up as easily, but I can see that happening. So I'm going to open up my can of coconut milk and get ready to put that in there. Okay, it's definitely turning yeah, do you see that? A more auburn color. I can certainly see that. I'm just gonna, yeah, it's got like that kind of burnt, a little bit of a burnt sugar smell to it. Think of like, maybe like a creme brulee kind of smell, if you guys know what that is. And to this, I'm going to add maybe 1/3 of a cup of coconut milk. Now, you're going to have to be ready to, look how beautifully thick and rich that coconut milk is. So I have my spatula here ready, so I'm going to just pour that in. Actually, I should take this off the stove. That I forgot. Okay. Oops. That's right, guys. Once you're ready to add your milk, take it off the stove. Okay, so, and stir. Now for just me and my daughter, although my mother could use it too, like I don't need a ton of caramel. That's another reason I made the recipe half. I don't particularly like to have, you know, huge amounts of things. This is enough for us. We don't eat caramel every day, although maybe we will if we have it here. I'm also going to add, so let me just do this. I'm going to put like a 1/4 teaspoon of salt in here. And I'm going to put a little bit of vegan butter to give it that buttery taste. So, oops. Okay, so that's just about a 1/4 teaspoon, probably just a tiny bit less. Now this isn't just, well, we're going to see how this turns out, because the other thing is, I mean, it was looking nice and, what do you call it? It was getting nice and thick, the sugar and water melting down. So obviously it's not as thick now, but it will thicken up. And it's already looking really good. So, I'm just going to add a little bit of vegan butter to this. I'm using the Becel vegan butter, although I do have some of my own butter. It's in the freezer, but it won't be ready to take out and put into here. So I'm going to put just about 2 tablespoons, so just about that. That's kind of 1 right there. And that's about 2. Okay. And I'm just going to give this another mix. And then I'm going to just let it sit and wait until it thickens up. I almost feel like I could put this back on the stove. And maybe I could, just to make sure the butter melts out properly. You know what, I'm going to do that. We're doing this my way, so I'm just going to put this on here. It's still on medium heat. I've got all the stuff I want in here. And I just want to melt this in perfectly. Now you do not have to put the butter in there at all. But, you know, I always liked caramel with a buttery flavor to it. So that's what we're going to do here. So I'm just stirring this now to make sure that it's all perfectly blended. Okay. I'm going to just leave it on probably here for like a couple of minutes, stirring pretty constantly. And we'll see how this goes. Okay, so I probably kept it on, I'd say a few minutes, and just made sure everything was completely dissolved. I think I will also try this again without adding the butter, but I'm going to just let this sit and thicken up, and then we'll do the proper taste test. Alright, so this has been cooling for a while. Maybe 20 minutes. Just going to verify that I don't destroy my finger. And I'm just going to pour it into this jar. I probably could have cooked it a little bit longer, but you don't want to burn it. And it was already starting to have that little burnt smell. I guess it could go a little bit longer. It's going to be the kind of thing that as you do it more than once, you can get a better feel for it. And I definitely could have made more to fill this jar. And as I said, the next time I make it, I am not going to use the butter. I'm just going to see how that turns out. But I didn't do the taste test, did I? Well, I did already taste it. Now you can add, gosh, I'm just almost thinking like you could add, well, you could put a little vanilla in here if you like. You could put a little bit of like amaretto or something, really flavor this up. Okay, try not to hear the scraping. Okay, good. I'm going to try not to scrape the spoon on here. I want to get out as much as I can. Sorry, guys. And then I'm going to do a little taste test for you. Okay? Alright, so let me just taste that here for you. See, that's the color it is. And it's really good. You know what? You can taste, like the coconut's not overpowering. I'd say it's complementary. You can taste the caramel flavor, the buttery flavor, the little salt in there. Also, I guess with the butter, maybe I didn't need to put the salt because I put the vegan butter. And you can taste, sorry, I just lost my thought. Oh, I was going to say, there are different flavors you get with this because you're using a turbinado or cane sugar that has a different flavor profile than just the regular white sugar. So it's really good. I think I'm going to call my daughter down and we'll have something that we can put some caramel on. Otherwise, I'm just going to seal it in this jar, keep it on hand, and I'm going to see if it thickens up. If I don't put this video up before that time, I will check back in probably tomorrow to see if it gets any thicker or not. But there you guys go. Caramel sauce made right at home easily, and I'm going to probably scoop out the last little bit of that. Yeah, it's that good. Alright guys, so I tried this caramel again. This time I left it in the pan a little longer, so you can see this is a thicker caramel. I just moved this one into a cup. This is, why is this darker? Oh, I know, it's the coconut milk. And I also didn't put any butter in this one. I put soy milk. And I have to tell you, it's a lot better with the coconut milk. I mean, the soy milk works, but, you know, maybe at least this brand of soy milk, maybe a vanilla soy milk would be better. I'm not the hugest fan of Silk soy milk. It's okay, but that's what I had. I mean, it still tastes good, but the coconut flavor with the caramel is a lot better. So I just wanted to do my own experiment. This is definitely thicker. It will still get consumed. Alright guys, I'm just showing you what I've done. I ended up just mixing both because the first one I made was not as thick and the second one was extra thick. The first one tasted a lot better with the coconut milk and I think with the butter. And the second one, while good, wasn't as good. So I think it's just how it's just that I didn't use the coconut milk. So this actually has a beautiful caramel color, and it's a nice consistency between both of them, and together it really tastes quite yummy. And I'm just going to taste it again just to satisfy myself that I'm right, but I've already tasted this. So I'll show you the consistency. So yesterday's was more runny. This is still like nice and smooth runny, but not quite like the one I made earlier was extra thick. So this is how it looks, and I'm just going to taste this. Alright, here we go. It's delicious. This is a perfect vegan caramel. So my tips: definitely use the coconut milk. The butter is good. Maybe for the half that I made I should have used 1 tablespoon, but throughout this now, having basically used 1 full cup of sugar, it tastes really nice. So this is like a butter caramel flavor that's vegan, and I'm loving this, and it's simple to make. Alright guys, that is all for now. I will catch you in the next video.